All right, today we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, often misunderstood tools in product development, the design system. So let's jump right in and figure out what all the buzz is really about.
So, have you ever used a bunch of apps from the same company and something just feels off? You know, one app has a round blue button, the next one has a square green one. The whole layout feels like it's from a different planet. It's kind of chaotic, right? Well, that's not happening by accident.
What's really going on here is a lack of a common language. And that is exactly the problem a design system is built to solve. It creates a shared vocabulary, a single source of truth, so designers, developers, and product managers can all build together in harmony. When you see all those clashing styles, it's really just a symptom of a much deeper issue. Teams working in their own little bubbles, in silos. Each team is basically reinventing the wheel every single time, and that leads to this fragmented, jarring user experience. The fix isn't just about painting everything the same color. It's about building everything from the same set of fundamental parts.
And this brings us to a really, really important distinction. A lot of people hear design system and immediately think, oh, that's just a component library. But that is only a tiny piece of the puzzle. And understanding the difference, well, that's where the real power is unlocked.
So let's start with what most of us already know, a component library. It's basically a toolbox full of pre-built, reusable bits of code. Things like buttons, form fields, navigation menus. It's an awesome tool for developers because it means they don't have to code these basic things from scratch over and over again. It's all about speed.
The perfect analogy for this is a big box of Lego bricks. You've got all these super useful, reusable pieces, different shapes, sizes, colors, and they're all ready to just snap together. It's an incredibly efficient way to build things, no doubt.
Okay, now let's level up to the design system. This is a much, much bigger idea. It's the whole shebang, a complete set of standards, rules, philosophies, and yes, the components too. The key here is that it's meant to be the single source of truth for how an entire organization designs and builds its products.
So let's go back to our Lego analogy. If the component library is that box of bricks, the design system is the box of bricks plus the super detailed instruction manual. It's the philosophy behind why you're building, and it's the agreed upon rules for how everybody on the team builds together. It's the entire ecosystem.
Let's put them side by side to make it super clear. A component library on the left is really focused on reusable code. Its main audience, developers. But a design system on the right blows that out of the water. Its focus is the entire visual identity and user experience. It's for designers, developers, product managers, everyone. The library is just one part of the system. The system scope is just so much bigger.
Okay, so what's actually inside one of these things? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the anatomy of a real enterprise-grade design system.
At its heart, a really solid design system is built on three main pillars. You've got your design artifacts. That's the visual soul. Then you have the development artifacts, which bring those visuals to life in code. And finally, you have design operations, which is the whole process that keeps the system alive and kicking.
First up, the design artifacts. This is the foundation. It all starts with high-level design principles. These are your core values, like be accessible or simple is better. Those principles guide the style guide, which gets specific about colors, fonts, and spacing. From there, we get the actual UI components, those little building blocks. And finally, you have the pattern library, which shows you how to combine those blocks to solve common problems, like a search bar or a checkout flow. Next up, development artifacts. This is where the rubber meets the road, turning all that design work into actual interactive code. Of course, this includes the component library we've been talking about. And you need good developer documentation. But the real secret weapon, the magic ingredient here, is something called design token. Think about it like this. Without tokens, a color is just a code, a hex code. You see this light yellow color, hashtag FEFFD5? What is it? What's its purpose? Is it a background color, a highlight color, an error state? Who knows? It has no meaning, and that makes it totally impossible to manage its scale. But with a design token, that same exact hex code gets a smart, human-readable name. Something like color, page, background, subtle. Ah, now it has a purpose. Now we know exactly what it's for. And the best part, if the brand decides to change that subtle background color, you just update the token in one single place, and that change instantly cascades across every single product. Your website, your iOS app, your Android app. That is some serious power. And finally, we have design operations, or design ops. If the artifacts are the parts of the car, design ops is the engine that makes it go. This includes a roadmap for where the system is headed, governance for how decisions get made, and clear guidelines so other teams can contribute back. And just as important, it includes metrics to track adoption and usage, plus training and support to help people actually use the thing. This is what separates a dead library from a living, breathing system.
Now, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? A perfectly oiled machine. But actually putting a design system into practice, well, the real world is messy and it is full of challenges. And this quote from a 2022 research paper just hits the nail on the head. It highlights the central conflict of every design system. How do you keep things stable and consistent while also being flexible enough for all the unique needs of different products? It's a constant balancing act. And this tension isn't just some abstract idea, it shows up in real decisions every day. A developer might be wondering, okay, do I use this pre-styled library that will get me up and running fast but locks me in? Or do I use a headless library that gives me total flexibility but takes way more time to set up? There's no easy answer here. It's always a trade-off.
So, how do the best teams handle this? Well, research shows that instead of some central team in an ivory tower dictating all the rules from the top down, a bottom-up approach works way better. You start by looking at your existing successful products and find what's already working. You pull out those successful components, polish them up into a generic version for the system, and then you push that new, consistent version back out to all the products. This way, the system is evolving with the products, not fighting against them.
Which brings us to the most crucial point of all. You have to remember, a design system is not a project. It doesn't have a start and an end date. It is a living, breathing, internal product. It has users, your designers and developers. It needs a roadmap, it needs support, and it needs to constantly evolve to actually be valuable. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. If your team, right now, had a truly common design language, how would that change the way you build? How would it change the way you collaborate? I think you'll find the impact could be way bigger than you imagine. Thanks for tuning in.